Does this change the way you view the Manny Pacquiao win for Ugas?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because Ugas, he came to defy greatness. Like I have never seen an athlete come out of their way to like fight a big fight like that, except for maybe like some of what the all-time greats, like Muhammad Ali, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he fight with like a broken jaw in like one of his fights? So like for like a win like this for Ugas, I give him so much credibility because it's like, he wanted this fight so bad, and you know, Ugas was never to be that type of fighter where a lot of people gave him a lot of shine, and I'm just proud of him because it's like, he not only just did it for his people for Cuba, but he did it for the boxing fans, and I give him so much love and credit, man, because that's a true championship mindset.
No doubt, bro. Kui, yeah. Peace, God. Hey, so let's go ahead. I think y'all got anything else on the Manny Ugas fight before we go past it, man?
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I just also wanted to say, after the fight, Manny still tried to find excuses to say why he lost that fight, and I just felt like that was just really like very, I want to say just very disrespectful and very unprofessional out of Manny because he knew he lost that fight. Like, if you were like watching that fight, that the commentators were still trying to find ways to like make it seem like Manny still won most of what the rounds, knowing that Ugas was like beating his ass like all night long. And then, that the one commentator, don't you know that white guy that reports on ESPN? I forgot his name, but
Brian Kenny.
Yeah, Brian Kenny. Yeah, he was trying to dick ride Manny Pacquiao all night long to say, hey, well, if Manny Pacquiao, if he doubles up on his jab or does this or does that, he could possibly win, blah, blah, blah. And then Sean Porter's like looking at him like, Ugas is doing pretty good, man. Like,
right. And I see that all the time, bro. So like, what's the dude named Robert Garcia, right? The trainer, right? He talking about, well, I thought it was a draw. It could have been a draw. See, but y'all got to look on the outside, the politics of boxing. They doing that shit. So if Mikey get a Manny fight, they can still sell it as viable. You see what I'm saying? That's just politics of boxing, bro. They be trying to do that shit and sell it. The dude named Robert Garcia. Man. Happened, my man.
But shout out to everybody in the chat.
What's popping, y'all? What's popping?
Hey, what's up, Ricky?
Hey, man. Peace, God. Peace. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, man. I can't complain, man. If I did, no one would listen. What you got on it, bro?
Man, I just think Terrence Crawford, he's just moving funny, man. I just think where he's at in his career, he either needs to give us what we want or just get out of boxing, period, man, because it's really starting to piss off a lot of hardcore boxing fans like myself, because I've been saying this ever since day one. Crawford, you have either two options. One, fight your contemporaries and sustain legacy, or two, just get shitted on by the media and then get out of the sport, because either way, you're on the coincidental list. You're not a hopeless fighter. The only reason why you're even talked about is because, the old media is protecting you, and you have nothing else to really do for your career because, you're just basically a walking puppet for a top rank. Otherwise, you would have been like the biggest star coming out of the welterweight division next to Errol Spence if you had fought guys like Danny Garcia, Sean Porter when he was a champion, Keith Thurman, Kell Brook, all the top guys. Shit, he could have fought Adrian Broner, right? Or Manny Pacquiao earlier. But yet he wants to make all this bullshit claims to say, oh, well, there's other sides of the street. But that's not fucking true. You could have easily had these fights set up. All you had to do was just call up the WBO or the WBA to say, hey, put me next in line to fight these guys after he had became undisputed at 140. And then, boom, you would have had these fights, all set up already. It's like Terrence Crawford. He's fucking up his own career because he chooses to, not because of what promoters are doing, behind everyone's backs. It's because of him. It's not because of them.
Hey, man, I couldn't say it better. On it. G5 in the building. Come through, my guy.
This is pure disgrace by the WBC, and I say this is pure disrespect to Canelo Alvarez's team because it just shows that Mexican fighters are really not as good as they say that they are. And the only real Mexican fighters that I actually do have a lot of respect for are the ones that aren't talked about a lot, that actually do put in the work, like Jesus Ramos Jr., Jose Ramirez, those guys that actually don't need to cheat at all to actually show who they are as a fighter. But for a piece of shit like Oscar Valdez to be caught for this type of incident, I say this is pure disrespect to the brand of who he comes from, because he says that he's like one of the best fighters in his division, but you then get caught for this shit. It's like how does that define you as far as like your image goes for how you fought throughout your career? Because because I'm pretty sure this isn't like the first time, but it's like, for you to be caught out of this whole incident just shows that your image is just going to get worse from here on out. And I just hope that he gets prosecuted and he gets stripped, and he never becomes like a world champion again.
Hey, I hear you, bro. G5, Gabe, where you at, man? Let them know where they can find you at, God. And then anybody else got anything else on this before we move on?
Yeah, I do.
All right, shoot it, bro.
Yeah, I also wanted to say that this is pure double standard when it does come to drug testing, because like every time when a black fighter does get caught, it seems like 9 times out of 10 the media has to do it because they don't want the black fighter to succeed. So like anytime when a Deontay Wilder does come out of the woodwork to be tested positive, everybody wants to say, oh, Deontay Wilder, he ain't that good. He's always on peds. He's always knocking people out, blah, blah, blah. But then when it's like a guy like Canelo, it's like everybody wants to, contemplate how much power that Canelo Alvarez has. But remind you, when he started his career, he was not that big of a fighter. Canelo was always the smaller guy. He always got his ass whooped by bigger fighters. If you just take a look at the Miguel Cotto's brother fight, Cotto's brother was beating the shit out of him. Canelo was struggling the entire fight until he got his quote-unquote second win, and then he knocks him out? How? Canelo is not this type of fighter that can just bum rush you. He has to use some sort of performance enhancer in order to be successful on the inside. Otherwise, he would just get styled on by every taller fighter. So either way, it's just like the WBC has been dick riding Mexican fighters for the past, I want to say 100 so years, but it's only to the hopeless fighters. It's not to the fighters of what we could say that's based on race. It's based off of political protectionism. And once that stops, that's when boxing will be just as fair as any other sport.
Right. And to address that for you, K-Rod, how is that any different than life? Y'all see what I'm saying? How is that any different than your everyday life?
It's no different. It really ain't no different. Just look at like the political spectrum of all, man, it's just everywhere. It's like I've said it 1,000 times. Racism is ingrained in every fabric of our society, period. Whether it's sports, politics, religion, whatever. It's all around us, bro. And
because if it's Canelo, they say, oh, he's supposed to hit hard because all Mexican fighters hit hard. Right. That's normal. But if a dude like Deontay starts knocking dudes out, they're like, something's wrong here. This ain't right. He ain't supposed to be knocking dudes out, even though he's a heavyweight. He's a heavyweight.
He's been doing this his whole career, D. You see what I'm saying? He's been doing this whole career. But this the example I love to use to that, bro. Canelo moving up and down the weight classes, franchise champion, right? Fighting tomato cans, bro. The Euro savior, bro. This guy's a Euro superhero, right? Tank Davis and he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Canelo, he catches bullets with his teeth. You know what I'm saying? Why fight Canelo? What's the point? Because Canelo and Terrence Crawford are only 2 fighters in the world that beat people without ever fighting them, right? Tank Davis doing the same thing Canelo doing.
Yep.
No, but said But then they say about Tank, like what they tried to do when Leo Santa Cruz got knocked out. They say he switched up the gloves illegally. So it's always going to be something behind it when it's a black fighter.
Oh,
right? Some sort of conspiracy theory.
Right. He picked Mario Barrios because they knew he was going to beat him, right? Like Canelo didn't know he was going to beat Albert Yildirim. But Canelo's praised for it. But Tank's, it's sad. And I agree. Like, I want to see Tank be great, but I want to see Canelo be great too. For real.
Word up.
Yeah.
For real.
Do it the right way.
Right?
Yep, that's
whatever happened to being the best fighter, whatever happened to having the best skills, you know what I'm saying? Now it's like you always got to have a one-up on someone, and if you can get away with it, you know, it's kind of like the old sentiment, right? If they don't know, it don't hurt them.
Right.
You know, and just try to get away with it, you know. Another example that popped in my head real quick, I don't know how many basketball fans we have up in here.
I'm a basketball fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm from the Phoenix area, so the Suns just made the finals and all that. And so I don't know if you guys remember DeAndre Ayton in his rookie year, he comes in, right, and he starts dunking on people, doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And started shaking up the world, and everyone's like, this ain't right. We got to test his ass. And of course he popped. Mm-hmm. And then he missed the first half of the whole damn season his second year.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I actually do remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
That's a fact.
But then he came back and he balled his ass off this year, and he put some on their ass. I mean, he had a few off games when they doubled him up, but for the most part, 95% of the time, one-on-one, he was killing them. He was cooking all the way through. You know what I'm saying? So it just shows, you know what I'm saying, his growth and just his mentality.
Devin Booker.
I watch basketball.
He like a mix of Steph and what's the boy from the Celtics? He used to play for the Celtics. What's the boy name?
Who? Pierce or Antoine Walker?
No, not Pierce. He a current player. It'll come to me.
Tatum.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Tatum.
what he remind me of. Yeah, you like a mix of Tatum and Steph all rolled into one.
$518, you on the line.
Hey, what's up, Cano?
What's going on? You ain't gonna say hi to LDUBB?
Hey, what's up, LDUBB? I'm sorry.
Man, anytime you call in and you see this platform, man, you better shout out LDUBB too, bro.
What's good, bro? All good. What's up?
Hey, saludos.
What's on your mind, man?
Oh, man, I have so much to say. First of all, I want to say F. Jake Paul because, you know, he's a dickhead. And he disrespected Puerto Rican heritage by having that Puerto Rican flag on his shorts. That should have been off, off the table. And shout out to the queen, Miss Amanda, the real deal, Holyfield Serrano 2.0. She is the greatest woman of all time. She is the GOAT number 2. She did her thing. And shout out to Mercado. She's a true warrior. She obviously has a lot of improving to do, but I think what her team said to Jordan Maldonado and Amanda was pretty disrespectful. I don't understand why they had to go that far. They obviously knew that they were in it for like a tough fight. So I think that trash talking didn't really help to do them good, other than just seeing Mercado getting beat down, you know, to death. And as far as the Montana Love situation,
Hold up. Let me stop you real quick. Then I'm gonna give you the floor back, man. Because you mentioned, you know, that Serrano fight again, man. Listen, man, a lot of people are very not what would I say? They don't know the history of boxing when they're talking about Yamilev Mercado. Yamilev Mercado fought in bigger weight classes, okay? They making it sound like she's moving up 2 weight classes. No, first of all, it wasn't 2 weight classes, it was 1. Second of all, she's fought at 132 before. You know, I don't understand where they come with this, that she's a smaller fighter. Man, get stop with the excuses when it comes to Amanda Serrano. Go ahead. That's all I had.
Yeah, I also just wanted to finalize with Montana Love. He's a good fighter. I was kind of feeling like he was being a little bit too irresponsible by letting Ivan Baranchyk, you know, clip him a couple of times, you know, while he was like showboating a little bit. I kind of felt like he should have like held that off
as soon as he like solidified, the momentum over him. But he did his job. I would rate, his performance very well. As far as him wanting like guys like Gervonta Tank Davis, I'm for it, but I think where he is right now, he still has a lot of growing to do. But I mean, if he's ready for the big dogs, then feed him to the Lions, because that's what I'm in it to see it for. The best fight the best.
Yeah, good question, man. I think it's a good fight for him. Well, I can't pronounce his name properly, but he's the guy. The guy that Berlanga's gonna fight is the guy that was actually winning on the scorecards against Billy Joe Saunders, but then got caught in the 11th round and got stopped.
Harris.
Yeah. Whatever, however you pronounce his name. Either way, I think it's a good fight for Berlanga. I think he's moving in the right direction. I don't see any way to criticize this fight, in my humble opinion, man. I have had constructive criticism for Edgar Berlanga, but it's because I love him and I like the way he fights, and I can see a bright future for him. And listen, as hard as it is to get matches for somebody like an Edgar Berlanga, I'm quite shocked that he even got this match. So shout out to Team Berlanga for being able to land this fight. It's gonna really, actually, to me, is gonna say a lot about him to the masses, even though a lot of the people are not. Like I said, man, if you watch Billy Joe Saunders against that dude that was beating him, it wasn't too long ago, man. The dude can box, man. Dude can box, all right? Look, you got to understand that the money is never going to be enough for opponents to want to sit in there and fight Berlanga, man. It's just the way the business is, man. He's a high risk, low reward. So when folks ask me about this matchup, I love it. I think it's a great fight. I think it'll open more doors for him, too. I think, it's going to catapult him into a bigger fight, probably in the MSG. You know what I'm saying? For the Puerto Rican Day Parade. He plans to stay busy, so I like it. I love it.
Be patient. Let's start working stuff out. Let's see what Josh Taylor going to do. This is what it is.
Hey, K-Rod still on the line?
Yeah, I think that's
it. I am.
Oh, my bad, bro. My bad. Did you have something else to say, man?
Yeah. I just wanted to say pretty much the same thing what LDUBB said and what you said about Stephen Shaw and Subriel Matias. I'll go with Stephen Shaw. I actually asked him on Instagram the other day, asking him that, would it have been possible for him to have fought Daniel Dubois on the Jake Paul undercard, because, it's kind of really disappointing that his opponent pulled out to not fight him. And come to think about it, like, if Daniel Dubois could have been that option for him, that probably would have been a really good fight for him. And I definitely would have paid big money to see that. And then for Subriel Matias, I believe he's supposed to fight that one guy that knocked out, that Lewis Riston guy, right? But if he's going to fight him next before he gets his, mandatory title shot to go after Josh Taylor or the vacancy for that belt, then by all means go for it. And I think Subriel Matias, he's up next to become a world champion anyway.
Yeah, let me answer this question. Johnny Production, New York City. Last question, Cano, about Edgar potential fight in Puerto Rico. Would that turn out better than when Danny fought over there? Oh, hell yeah. Hell to the yeah. I'm going to tell you the difference, man. Danny never walked out representing the island. He never walked out with, some Hector Lavoe walk into the ring and shit with some Iguani leg, with the flags out and everything, man, with the Fat Joes and all that. Bro, he's loved in Puerto Rico, bro. Nah, that turned out, nah, man, not even close. Well, that's going to be dope when he goes down there. And look, he went down there and was received by Tito Trinidad just beautifully. Yeah, man, the island's fucking with him, bro. Hell no. Danny Garcia, bro, no, man. And listen, man, I ain't gonna knock on Danny, man, but that's just the truth. He never did come out representing like that. Not that I can recall. So
that's true. He never came back after that fight, too. Like Berlanga be going down to Puerto Rico often, like going to the WBO, not the convention, but he be getting awards and stuff like that. He went down there. I think he went with Amanda Serrano one time, and he went with Michaela Mayer when she got her title. So yeah, he's received well, and he speaks Spanish. That's something Danny couldn't do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Danny didn't do that, so he gonna cross over, and it's gonna be crazy. That's supposed to be February, the top of next year. If everything goes well, which I expect it to, February might be crazy. Because this next fight is gonna be for a world title, pretty much. So, yeah,
right,
yeah, yep.
That's it.
No. I just want to say to hell with Oscar Valdez, and also rest in peace to that Mexican girl, Jeanette Zacarias Zapata, right? I heard about that story the other day, and I'm just shocked and really pissed off of how, something like that just gets swept under the rug. And I hope she's doing well in the afterlife, and I hope everything is well with her family. Also, to hell with Oscar Valdez. He's a piece of shit. If this is something that happened in the past, then I believe Miguel Burchell should file charges against him for damages if there's any evidence for that. And I would also say investigate the rest of Canelo's team, because this is also something that could be concurrent with other fighters like Ryan Garcia or any other fighters like Andy Ruiz or anybody out of that stable. So, how the hell can you say that, you guys come from such a good team, but, y'all are piss and smoke, out of like a dirty cup, showing all these, banned substances that, that shouldn't even be inside like your system in the first place. If you're going to call yourself like the best, the best of the best fighters, shouldn't you guys be holding each other accountable to be the best, cleanest fighters out of your own divisions? Well, that clearly doesn't show that. So, I'm just really surprised that the WBC is trying to go this route. And I would really hope that this can be brought to a federal court in the U.S. and they can just be taken out of business. Because at this point, the WBC, they're just a bunch of dipshit crooks. They don't deserve to be in the sport of boxing, and the rest of the sanctioning bodies included. They're all crooks and they're all evil, allowing this type of bullshit. This shit needs to stop immediately.
All right. Hey, K-Rod, I appreciate you for calling in, man. As always, appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much, Cano. See you later, LDUBB.
All right, bro. Have a good one.
Yeah. LDUBB, any last words, man, before we get on out of here? Stormy B, man's live, man. And also want to kind of clear the floor. I kind of went a little bit over and shit, But
yeah, no doubt, man. I had to get that out. But yeah, salute to everybody coming through the building. I appreciate you guys in the chat, all the comments. Make sure you guys hit the like button if you haven't. You know what I'm saying? Another good show, man. My man Cano. So salute to everybody, man. And we'll be back with another one next week.
Yes, indeed. And this is always being brought to you by DV Tracksuits, man. Black Gentlemen's Grooming Company, man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Fully loaded boxing. Man, shit, boy. We out of here.